All right, I'm here with a good friend of mine, Patrick Scully. For those of you that do not know, Patrick Scully is the man behind TechRise. And if you don't know what TechRise is, it's the old building that now looks amazing with the 5-foot staircase on the outside that they paid a lot of money to put in, and it has made an amazing experience for the tenants. So, Patrick, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do what we normally do and ask 3 questions and
Gotcha.
get some answers for you guys. So, first one is, most people don't realize this, but you came from the hospitality industry.
Right.
And you and I have talked about this a lot, but you and I both agree there's some aspects of the hospitality industry that should be related when it comes to real estate, commercial real estate,
Yeah.
property management, and the experiences of the tenants.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate that?
Yeah, well, I think the service aspect is one that should never be lost. And I think, within hospitality, you can apply that to a lot of verticals. But, for folks that work Monday through Friday, sadly, they're probably at work as much as they're at home, And I think for people in the hospitality community, that's important that when you go travel, you feel connected and comfortable and things are made simple. And kind of as a recent member of the commercial real estate community.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. I think what struck me most was how, in some cases, things were just unnecessarily complex.
Yes.
And so for a lot of the new tenants at TechRise, we try to do our best to streamline it. And it doesn't come without issues, and there's no promise there won't be mistakes. But, the responsiveness that people expect in a hotel, the opportunity to pick up a phone and call someone and talk to a human or get a good response time is important to us.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, it's not hard to do. It really just kind of boils down to finding people with the right attitude and the willingness to do it. And it's probably the cheapest way to create a good experience is to provide good experience.
Yep.
So I think that's probably the easiest parallel and the easiest thing to achieve that I found in commercial real estate. So.
Yeah. One thing that I kind of see with it is that you guys are proactive versus reactive.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when it comes to managing properties, we're just reactive versus being proactive with the tenants there. And I think that's one aspect of the hospitality that you guys do bring.
Yeah, and I think at least for us, we're very flat, right? So we own the building and we manage the building, and in some cases we try to broker the building. And all 3 of those may not come without, hiccups along the way.
Yeah.
But I think it provides some peace of mind for the folks that are coming in here that are signing up for these spec suites and they're paying the money that they're paying to be with us, that they know they can call me and get things taken care of. And so we try to respect that and respond to that quickly.
That's good. Speaking of the spec suites, one of the things that we talked about at Transcend recently is trying to figure out from the commercial real estate side of things, like, when you're doing marketing, you talk about villains. Well, and you have different type of villains that you see out there. And one that we came back to is the inflexibility that a lot of tenants run into when signing a lease.
Sure.
And so one of the creative things that y'all have done is build out these spec suites and put furniture in there and cable them and all the amazing things you've done. But the question that I have is you're doing 1 to 3 year leases on this. How is this a win-win for both you, the owner, but also the tenant?
I think the shortest answer for us as an owner is kind of higher rates, right? So there's a revenue piece for us. Now that doesn't come without risk, and my answer today may be different in 5 years. If in fact it was not the right gamble. I think the easier advantage is to talk about it from a tenant standpoint. And again, coming as kind of a recent entry into commercial real estate, again, I was just shocked with the complexity of everything. I think when you work with companies to find the right space and you're looking at all these different buildings, that signing that deal and those are big leases.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pages, there's a lot of complexity, there's a lot of negotiating, there's just a lot of emotional components to that. And then once you get that, that's really just the start. And I think for people in software that are kind of coming into it, it's like, are they fully briefed to that? Are they fully apprised of all the things that come with it and all the other kind of stakeholders that need to get involved to execute on a good build out, a good design, a good move in, a transition into the space. And so for us, that's all done, right?
Yeah.
And so we design the spaces with really great, sit-stand furniture and chairs, all the things that you would want to hire some of the right employees. but we left opportunity to make it their own, right? And
Yeah.
so when someone joins us, they have an allowance that we provide them to paint walls, to brand walls, to make it their own, and kind of put their own spin on it. And so I think just from a headache standpoint, I think it's a huge advantage for a tenant.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
on a one, as far as the 1 to 3 year deal, who knows, where you're going to be in 5 years. I mean, you can roadmap anything, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean
Yeah.
you're going to hit your milestones and your growth targets. So we found a lot of positive response
Yeah.
with the folks that moved in,
Yeah.
and actually seeing this kind of use case realized with the amount of hires they've had. And had they just done, we have a group in this in 1 year, and they're already expanding. They
Yeah.
need to expand.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not a perfect use case for what we're doing, I don't know what is.
And you
So-
give them the ability to do that without a huge capital upfront cost.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
terrific.
Yeah, so no security deposit, no, none of that stuff, no credit check or anything like that. So we are assuming some risk, but
Yeah.
they are too, right? So it's a very clean agreement that we have. There's not a lot of complexity to it, not a lot of heavy, scary language either. So.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. So last question, and this one's kind of a loaded one, but you've come in from hospitality into commercial real estate. What's one aspect of commercial real estate that you love, and then what's one aspect of it that you would want to change?
One thing that I love is there's a lot of opportunity to improve.
Yes, I agree with
There's
that.
a lot of areas we can disrupt, and there's a lot of, and I mean, this is not, I think, people who've been in the industry for a long time equally realize that, and, we work and all the groups out there obviously disrupting in their own ways, but I think there's opportunity to try new things, and I think that for the most part, the groups out, like, the potential tenants out there welcome that.
Yep.
They want to see something new, they want to see something fresh, and certain brokers do too. So I love that. What would I change? Well,
The complexity? The build that? I mean,
I probably could rerun everything I just said.
that's
Yeah,
true.
I think complexity of it. I think there's a way to simplify a lot of the exercises that you probably go through, and
Yeah.
certainly that we go through at TechRise. And there's always room for improvement, and I think this industry is no exception.
Yeah, I agree. Wow. Well, thank you, man.
No,
That was
thank
good.
you.
Appreciate it. Oh. Thanks, man.